Your cell phone, your wallet, your time, your ideas. No barcode, no party, no IP, no beers. Your bank card, your license, your thoughts, your fears. No SIM card, no disco, no photo, no fear. Your blood, your sweat, your passions, your regrets, your profits, your time off, your fashions, your sex, your pills, your grass, your tits, your ass, your laughs, your balls. We want your soul, your house, your home, your life, your cash, your house, your cook. We want your soul, your house, your home, your life, your cash, your house, your cook. We want your soul, your habits, your fads, your fears. Give us your address, your shoe size, your years, your digits, your plans, your number, your eyes, your schedule, your desktop, your details, your life. Show us your children, your photos, your home. Here, take.
Welcome to Radio Bravery Live. I'm your host, Justin Bellshaw, and this is not a special report about Islam. No way. This is Taqiya. This is not a special report about Islam. This is not a special report about Islam. And Islam does not want your soul. Welcome to Radio Bravery Live. I'm Justin Bellshaw, your host. The website is youtube.com/RadioBravery. That is my channel. We are currently live, and this is not a special report about Islam. Let's start with the Taqiya. Taqiya. Literally, prudence, fear, Arabic, yes. I don't know if everyone know, I do have an Arabic tattoo. It says free man, because I am not run by some douchebag like Muhammad. I am free to make my own decisions, my own judgment, and my own determination of right and wrong, because I'm smart enough to do that. I don't need a leader. But the Taqiya is something in Islam where you are allowed to lie, where you are allowed to deceive, where you're allowed to cover up or stay silent by omission. Basically, it is the ability to say that you are not a radical Islamic terrorist when you are. So the denial of religious belief and practice in the face of persecution, or another term for this concept, is the action of covering up or dissimulation. It has a more specific meaning of dissimulation or silence or omission. By silence or omission. This practice is emphasized in Shia Islam, where adherents are permitted to conceal their religion when under threat of persecution or compulsion. However, it's permitted in Sunni Islam under certain circumstances, but they don't even say persecution or compulsion in Sunni. Oh, no, they don't. Because they will lie to you in any circumstance. Any circumstance when it comes to concealing their true goal of Islam. Taqiya was initially practiced under duress by some of Muhammad's companions. Later it became particularly important for Shias due to their experiences persecuted as a religious minority by Sunnis. So the Shias were using this Taqiya to keep to themselves that they don't support Sharia law, for one example, and the Sunnis, I don't know if you know, are against anybody who doesn't support Sharia law. Anybody, even Shias, even non-violent Muslims who live in the US, who I totally, support your right to do whatever the fuck you want, but you are not a Muslim in the sense that you do not support Sharia law, you do not support all of the real Muslim ideology, which is a political ideology, really has nothing to do with religion. It's a political stance in killing, murdering, or imprisoning anyone who does not go with what you agree with or is not on your side of the fence. And that's how Sunni Muslims pretty much are. And If you look up the Pew Research Center's study, 2015 says Islam has 1.8 billion adherents, making up 24% of the world's population. Guess which side's bigger, Sunni or Shia? Sunni, it makes up 80 to 90% of Muslims. 80 to 90% of Muslims. That's roughly 1.5 billion people. Shia, which is the lighter side of Islam, which I really have much less problem with than Sunni, makes up 10 to 20% roughly. That's 170 to 340 million people against 1.5 billion. 80 to 90% of Muslims are Sunni. Okay, so Sunni Muslims follow what is called Sharia law. Well, all Muslims are basically follow Sharia law or want to, and at least that's what Islam is all about. That is the law of the land. It is the series of Islam. Belief, Sharia, Islamic law. That is what it's called. Islamic law. The religious law of Islam. That is what Sharia law is. Islamic law. Sharia law. The religious law of Islam. Okay, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. It is marketable to every brand of Islam. It is derived from the religious precepts of Islam, particularly the Quran and the Hadith. In Arabic, the term Sharia refers to God's immutable divine law and is contrasted with fiqh, which refers to its human scholarly interpretations. The manner of its application is, in modern times, has been a subject of dispute between Muslim traditionalists and reformists. Traditional theory of Islamic jurisprudence recognizes four sources of Sharia: the Quran, Qiyas, analogical reasoning, Ijma, juridical consensus, and different legal schools, of which the most prominent are Hanifi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, and Jafari, developed methodologies for deriving Sharia rulings from scriptural sources using a process known as Ijtihad. But if you ask numerous imams in the religion, the majority of imams will tell you that if you're a homosexuality, you should be punished by death. If you are a woman driving or going out with your hood not over your head, you should be punished by death or sticking an iron rod up your vagina. These are certain things that they go, let's see, criticism, human rights, parallels, let's look at the some of the Sharia is enforced in Islamic nations in a number of ways, including Mutawin, police enforcement, and Hizbah. Mutawin are the government-authorized or government-recognized religious police or clerical police of Saudi Arabia. Oh, did you know where the biggest amount of Sunni Muslims live? Yeah, piece of shit Saudi Arabia. The most evil leadership in the entire world. Elsewhere, enforcement of Islamic values in accordance with Sharia is the responsibility of the Polisi Perda Syria Islam in Aceh province of Indonesia, the Committee for the Propagation of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, Gaza Strip, in parts of Palestine, and the force in Iran. But there are so many disgusting parts of Sharia. The Sharia basis of arguments advocating terrorism is controversial. According to Bernard Lewis, no time did the classical jurists offer any approval or legitimacy to terrorism, although every time terrorism occurs, they do it in the name of Sharia and screaming Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, oh, I'm so cool, murdering myself. And little girls, you fucking losers. Several major, predominantly Muslim countries have criticized the Universal Declaration of Human Rights for its perceived failure to take into account the cultural and religious context of non-Western countries. Iran declared in the UN Assembly that ADHR was a secular understanding of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Oh yeah, so we can't have human rights. They can't have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Muslim countries. They fight against that because it doesn't go along with Sharia law. You can't have inalienable human rights? Absolutely not. They need to be able to murder you or kill you or cut your genitals off if you're a homosexual or if you're a woman who drives. I mean, they have to withhold that right. It's so important to them because they're loving Muslims. Okay, so we went over the Taqiya, how they're totally able to lie to you about it. I don't know if you've heard about Linda Sarsour. She is a pro-Sharia law activist, self-described progressive, as she wants to progress you all the way back to the 800 BC era where women are slaves and gays don't have rights. But, you know, she's a total leader for women's rights. While she was born in Brooklyn, fucking New York, a child of Palestinian immigrants, has no idea what it's like to actually live under Sharia law because she'd probably be fucking dead by now if she was living in another Islamic-dominated country because she doesn't cover her face. She walks around in the middle of public with signs and able to speak freely in this free country where we gave her the right. But she wants to just, she hates Western laws and she hates America, but she's gonna stay behind our walls and stay real nice and fucking safe, away from all the radical Islamic terrorists that would cut her genitals off. This dumbass woman is the leader of the Women's Media Center. She's a progressive women's voice, leadership training programs all over the world, or all over the country. She endorsed Bernie Sanders, of course, because, Bernie, he's just so loving and progressive. So this lady, her political views, she says she does not support Hamas, but she does support Sharia law. I'm pretty sure she is basically just how can you even believe any Muslim when they say they do or don't support something when they withhold the right to lie about it? Somali-born activist Ayan Hirsi Ali criticized Sarsour as a defender of Sharia law. Sarsour had said in 2011 tweet that Ali and another woman don't deserve to be women, adding, "I wish I could take their vaginas away." That's what Linda Sarsour said about a woman who was living under Sharia law. Unlike Linda Sarsour, a real woman having to suffer under the pathetic, disgusting, inhuman Sharia law. Linda Sarsour says she doesn't deserve to be a woman and she wishes she could take their vaginas away. What kind of piece of shit women's rights leader is this? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? This disgusting criminal, Linda Sarsour, wants to take vaginas away of women that she doesn't agree with. But she's a women's rights leader. Oh my God. No, she's not. Wake the fuck up. Linda Sarsour is a provocateur to incite women into hating each other, into hating themselves, and into having no independence or control over their own lives. That's what Sharia law is all about, into stomping you down in the dirt. The Sharia boot on your face. Sorry, it just makes me so angry because I really, really do stand for women's rights. I really stand for human rights of everyone, and it disgusts me to see people like Linda Sarsour trying to play everyone off against each other. Let's look at this from Mediaite.com. Linda Sarsour warns critics days after calling for Trump jihad. I am taking names, quote. I am taking names. Yeah, this terrorist, this pro-Sharia activist who's really a terrorist on our U.S. soil every day calling for jihad against the Trump administration. Jihad? Jihad? Are you fucking kidding me? That is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just going to look right now just to give you a little background. Let's Wikipedia the word jihad. Jihad is an Arabic word which literally means striving or struggling, especially with a praiseworthy aim. It can have many shades of the meaning in an Islamic context, such as struggle against one's evil inclinations. Struggle against one's evil inclinations, an exertion to convert unbelievers, or efforts toward the moral betterment of society, though it most frequently is associated with war. Do you see how they word that in the very first sentence of Wikipedia? It's so manipulative to you. That's why we need to continue to think for yourselves, do your own research, and don't be manipulated by headlines and sentences written so trickily like this Wikipedia. Jihad is an Arabic word which literally means striving or struggling, especially with a praiseworthy aim. It can have many shades of the meaning in an Islamic context, such as struggle against one's evil inclinations, an exertion to convert unbelievers, or efforts toward the moral betterment of society, though it is most frequently associated with war. Yeah. War. War. That is the very last word in there. The term has gained additional attention in recent decades through its use by terrorist groups. Yeah, terrorist groups. Terrorism, folks. Terrorism. Because that's what jihad is. It is war on the non-believers. War on a praiseworthy aim. Okay, that's what it's all about. Here's an article from the Daily Caller. This is a special report from Radio Bravery Live, the truth about jihad. Sarsour hasn't turned over $100,000 raised for Jewish cemetery. This is from the Daily Caller. Muslim activist Linda Sarsour and Tariq El-Masidi led a high-profile fundraiser in an effort to restore vandalized Jewish cemeteries, promising money to burial grounds across the U.S., but so far they've failed to deliver on their promise. Neil Price of the Golden Hills Cemetery in Colorado said he left 3 voicemails Tuesday for Tariq El-Masidi, the founder of the nonprofit Islamic education organization Celebrate Mercy, but none was returned. Price is the primary caretaker for the Colorado Cemetery and has tried for over 35 years to raise money to restore the cemetery's graves. The Jewish community has many needs, and the focus is mostly on the needs of the living or the active part of the cemetery. El-Masidi and Sarsour made public announcements in February that a large portion of the money raised from their campaign Muslims Unite to Repair Jewish Cemetery would go to Golden Hill Cemetery. With extra funds raised, we have decided to embark on a major project to restore neglected, vandalized Jewish cemetery in Colorado, which is on the National Register of Historic Places. Costs will be over $100,000, read the campaign's website. We are now hoping to raise a total of $200,000. The $200,000 goal did not appear to have been reached by May 31st, but El-Masidi took a tour of the cemetery in April and seemed willing and ready to give the money, but never has. And Price told Allgemeyer that he doesn't think the money will ever come. So that's pretty interesting, as they're funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to themselves in the name of Sharia. They are not helping anyone, except furthering their cause of jihad. Linda Sarsour, she just wants to call for jihad. But like I had said before, the majority of Sunnis are in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, Qatar, Gaza, and all around. Where is that? Like the main area where? Oh yeah, Syria. That's one of the areas on the ban on the extreme vetting list. I don't see why we wouldn't want to give a little extreme vetting over there. But yeah, like I said, Sunnis are 80 to 90% of the Muslim population. That's roughly 1.5 billion people. And those are just the ones that they tell you are Sunni and that believe in Sharia law. If you Google BBC, you look up Muslims in Britain, over 52% of Muslims in Britain admit that they would lock up and put in jail or kill gay people, and they don't agree with homosexuality. That's 52% of Muslims in Britain. These are the people we are importing into our free societies to close down our free societies from the inside out, because jihad is referred in Islam as the sixth pillar of Islam. Jihad equals war. Jihad is war on unbelievers and any praiseworthy aim. Okay, this is their struggle to take over Sharia law, and Sunni Muslims, the majority of Muslims, they want to take over our country. They want to take over the world through Sharia, and they have no room for you, no room for free men like me, no room for freedom or independence. That's what Linda Sarsour is all about. She's a tool of jihad and a infiltrator and traitor to our country. So thank you so much for this special Taqiya report on Linda Sarsour, the piece of garbage, divider and conqueror. Do not be divided. Do not be manipulated. Knowledge is power. Think for your fucking self. Think free or die. These are your only choices. Live free or die. Do not follow in these blind misinterpretations of people trying to make you feel bad because you are not in line with Islam. I'm not in line with Islam. I don't care if you want to be Islamic as long as you don't try a jihad on me and my freedoms. As long as you don't try to take away my freedoms and tell me how I need to feel about women wearing hoods over their head. No, women are beautiful and I want them to all be hoodless. If you want to wear a hood on your head, go to Saudi Arabia. They would love to throw a hood on your head there. But our country is not for that. If you want to make a choice to wear a hood on your head here in the U.S., go for it. You're only taking away free rights that women in other countries are murdered for standing up for. Women in other countries do not find it cool to wear a hijab. They don't want to wear a hijab. If you look at pictures of the 1970s in Iraq, it was a beautiful, beautiful place with beautiful women and beautiful fashion and thriving culture, and everybody was unique and different and cool and free. And now you look today and it's a bunch of brown bag wearing the same uniform. It's a uniform. It is just these countries have been taken over by jihad, and that's the whole goal. That is what jihad is. That is what Islam is all about, and that's what's happening all over the world today. So do your own research. Trust your gut. Don't trust me. This is Radio Bravery Live. I am not a liar, and I do not want your soul. But Islam wants your soul, and Islam is willing to lie for it. There's no jihad here on Radio Bravery Live. just a jihad for freedom. So thank you so much. Subscribe today, youtube.com/RadioBravery. This is the Taqiya Special Report. Islam wants your soul.
Your thoughts, your emotions, your love, your dreams, your checkbook, your essence, your sweat, your screams, your security, your sobriety, your innocence, your society, yourself, your place, your distance, your space.
Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here, watch this. Shut up.
Thank you so much. This is Radio Bravery Live.
We tell you.